Hey, everybody. Welcome to Vertical MRO, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts. In this two-part series of Vertical MRO, co-host Jon Gray and I sit down with Drew Califf, a customer service engineer, or CSE, at Bell. Join us as we explore Drew's remarkable aviation journey. The series emphasizes the critical elements of education, teamwork, and communication in the industry. The conversation dives into unique challenges faced when working in remote areas, highlighting the significance of improvisation in the tool use and experience of maintaining helicopters under extreme weather conditions. Drew shares valuable insights on leadership and the importance of fostering a positive work environment, underscoring how fun and camaraderie can enhance a workplace with morale. Through this engaging dialogue, Drew reflects on his experience at Bell, the value of customer service, and the satisfaction that comes from effective problem solving. He also emphasizes the necessity of ongoing training and the ability to adapt to ever-evolving technological advancements in aviation. Tune in for an inspiring conversation and two-part series that sheds light on the dynamic world of helicopter maintenance and the dedicated professionals who keep it soaring. I'm Val. This is Vertical MRO. Let's get this going. Special thanks to our sponsors for this podcast, Bell, Vertical Aviation International, and Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing.
Welcome to the Vertical MRO podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts.
All right, everyone, you're ready to contact. You're cleared to the Bravo.
The Vertical MRO podcast explores the fascinating world of helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul with your host, Val Medved.
Now, line altimeter 3029, approved as requested.
The podcast features helicopter technicians, mechanics, engineers, and MRO experts who share invaluable industry insight, knowledge, and stories that will inspire current and aspiring industry maintainers.
Jumping into now. So let's go into where you're presently at right now.
Yes.
You're now a Bell CSE.
Yes, I am. Finally.
Well done, sir. Well done. You're repping the brand. Hey, and listen, look, I got the t-shirt on going too.
Yeah,
So
I saw you guys' Bell gear. It's some good
there it
looking
is.
gear.
There it is. We stole it. Well, actually, we stole it from the last show that we were just kidding. Okay. It was given to us. But what inspired you to look at a position and with Bell, how did you prep for that?
Well, so Bell, I said earlier, first time I saw a CSE come through PJs, and I was like, who's that guy? And they're like, oh, that's a tech rep. And I'm like, whoa, so they just go around and help people. They don't have to wrench. And we're like, yeah, pretty much. And then
He's like the Don Draper of Bell. Mad Men reference. Thank you very much.
I was like, that's awesome. I want to do that. And, Bell I've worked on all the manufacturers almost, so I've always personally thought Bell was the best. That could be how I was brought up at PJs because it was majority Bell, but I've always liked the manuals and I've always liked the product, and I've seen what they can do being up in the Arctic or on a fire in Southern California, so
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
I think they're pretty good. And I think how I prepped for this job, my whole career has kind of prepped me for this job, working with these machines in the field. And with how many, I wrote a little fact down. I got this from Greg Judd.
Oh yeah.
But the hours and the experience that the Bell CSE people hold. So there's 47 of us across the world. And with all of us combined, we have 1,500 years of Bell experience.
I'm going to put Greg for a good majority of those because he's a young buck, but when he listens to this, he'll get a good chuckle out of that because I call him young buck.
Yep. So when Todd Ellison, the CSE in California, retired, he told me that he was retiring. And, I had expressed interest in this position before, so he kind of gave me a heads up. And then I met with Greg Judd, Dan Prairie, and Edward Mooney, some of those guys. So I just went really good. And then my first son was actually born 2 weeks before I started. So that was pretty
well
cool.
done.
Yeah.
Well done. How old now?
He is 14 months now.
Bingo.
Well, yeah.
Crawling around, causing trouble.
Oh yeah, my wife's got him out of the house while we're recording.
Go kill some hours in the back, kid.
yeah. He'll just come into the room and start screaming.
Hey, I got a 22-year-old and a 21 or 20-year-old. They don't change.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm tickled pink working at Bell, and I don't see myself leaving Bell during my career, you know?
Yeah. I love Bell. And I think a lot of what I love about Bell is the folks they have working for them. You know,
Good call,
Oh, yeah.
John. Very good call.
yeah,
Yep.
you talk
Yeah.
about the importance of enjoying work, and that comes with working with the person next to you.
Yep.
Now, when you look at the customer surveys that come out on Bell,
Yep.
Bell always ranks really high on customer service.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that,
Yep.
that's not by accident. You know, I think they put a lot of importance on bringing people on board like yourself, Drew, that really
Yeah.
can connect with people. And while no brand is perfect, no one person is perfect, and I think Bell recognizes that, but makes every effort to right the ship when it needs to be righted.
Yeah.
I
agree.
love Bell for that reason, and they've just done an excellent job with that. I love it.
Yep. Perfectly said, John. Perfectly said.
Yeah, I agree. Bell has, you know, they offer support, and I pride myself because when I get a phone call from one of my customers, you know, I've been in their shoes. I understand, like, you know, it might be Saturday morning, but I'm still going to answer the call because somebody's got an issue going on, and I like being there to help them. It's been a really gratifying job.
The exposure that I've had through this show, just being introduced to Bell individuals, they've and I'm gonna say it's they're a notch above the rest when it comes to kind of really the caring of the helicopter is kind of the takeaway that I can kind of really put towards that. And that's just not, you know, speaking unbiasedly, of course, I'm third party out, but you know, having their real approach to people and kind of being real people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
you know, like, listen, a lot of the guys that fly the old Jet Rangers and Long Rangers, we're good old boys, right? So when
Yeah.
you can talk their language and relate to them at the same time, when they cuss you out and you can sit there and take it and kind of have an expression to kind of really kind of, okay, I understand your frustration, but now let's talk real. So that's the takeaway from there. So your role as a CSE is a value one, my friend. Good job.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, but you mentioned the Long Rangers, like, you know, Bell still supports those. So I got a customer who had a Long Ranger track and balance issue, and he got my number from a friend, and he wanted me to come out and help him, and he asked me how much that'll cost. I'm like, oh, it's free. You know, I'll be there tomorrow.
Cool.
No problem.
Yeah.
Cool. Really cool.
I love it.
Coolest part about the job? Can you narrow it?
Man, I think when Golden Anderson from Helistream, when he my old boss, when he calls me for assistance, and I say Bell customer support, but no, best part of the job for me is just getting to be with all these different operators and seeing how they're using these machines and learning with them and offering help. It's great.
Yeah. It's a special person that kind of really answer those calls and the need. So it's good on you. Good on you. John, you can ask this last question here because this is not relative to me when it comes to the flying side of it. So I'll let you kind of fly with this one, brother.
So yeah, talking about Bell products, I love Bell products. I sound like I should work for Bell, but I don't. Like Val, the 412. The new EPX. I recently had an opportunity to go up and fly with San Bernardino County and their new 412 EPX.
Yep.
Man, what a workhorse that thing! It's a beautiful ship on the exterior. Internally, the thing it's a workhorse. Awesome, love it.
Yeah.
And then the 429. You know, if I always say if I had a chance to buy one aircraft, it doesn't matter what the mission is. I think the 429 would be the thing. I know it doesn't do some of the heavy lift things that you might need, but man, it's sexy, it's fast, it does so much. You know, in law enforcement, I think it can do just about every mission set that's required. But for you, you know, you've had a chance to work on, just like you said, about every single piece of aircraft that's out there. From your perspective, what do you like about working on the EPX and then the 429 and even the 505?
Yeah. So the EPX, you know, it's a modern aircraft, glass cockpit, but you know, you start working on it and it's still a Bell medium, you know, so it's there's some familiarity to it. The manuals are this goes for all models, but the manuals are well written, easy to navigate, and just being familiar. I think for me, being a Bell guy, it's the familiarity of them. The 505, you know, it's I personally haven't worked on those a lot. I've helped some customers with some issues. but
Still relatively new aircraft, so I can't imagine too many bugs in it right now.
yeah, and it's it's still a 206 system at heart.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
429. Everybody who gets a 429 absolutely loves the 429, and I think we're going to see more of those coming as the years progress.
Yeah, we were on a demo flight in the 429, and we came in to a ridgeline, an unapproved landing area, to show one the performance capabilities of the aircraft. But I was really shocked when you came through ETL and you used to that kind of that shuddering of the aircraft as it's going through ETL.
Yeah,
the 429 had very little. It was so smooth. I was like, holy cow!
Yeah, it's a nice aircraft.
But looking at those, all three of those, the 505, the 429, and the 412, the avionics packages and those things are absolutely amazing. They're advanced.
Yeah.
It looks like when you're looking in the cabin, it looks like a 747, which you'd see in the front. Can you talk to some of the challenges that come with working on those? Like, I think back to the old days when it was steam gauges, but really as a maintainer, you had to worry about the systems, and that was kind of it. But now with the avionics and all the things, the mission equipment that goes on these, we're asking our maintainers to do a lot, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So in the utility world, it's still mostly, well, it's changing now, but mostly steam gauges, so avionics was kind of radios, but now avionics is almost the entire aircraft. There's systems running through the whole thing. And so when I was working as assistant DOM for Helistream, that's when San Diego Gas and Electric picked up their 412 EPX. And so that's operated and maintained by Helistream. So I was heavily involved in the EPX that came, and, all this stuff was new to me. So just getting in the menus and the pages and not being afraid to just kind of push some buttons and play with it, and the 429 and the 412 EPX are both good examples of, you can mess around with those systems and it's going to give you many opportunities to confirm you want to mess this up, so you don't have to scare anybody. But that is a challenging part. And each of those airframes and the 505 in the maintenance manual, they have the integrated avionics display manual, and it's like a system description manual. And it is really good with full color screenshot photos of what you're looking at. There's even some Adobe Flash programs that you can download, and it's a simulation of the avionics kit. So you can go in there and push buttons and set your parameters, whatever, So just getting familiar with it is the big one.
For ongoing training for folks that might find themselves in a position where they're soon going to be working on aircraft that have these advanced avionics packages.
Yeah.
Is there any training that you're aware of that people can attend, whether it's online or in person for folks?
Yeah. So a few Rotorcraft Support Incorporated down here in Southern California, RSI, they do a free RSI IA renewal seminar once a year. That's coming up this month in October 17th in North Hollywood. Also, you get in the manuals and read about them there, and then YouTube. Surprisingly, you'd be surprised what you type into YouTube and what somebody's made.
YouTube University.
Exactly.
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it for sure.
I'm a huge YouTube learner.
Yeah.
So
speaking of which, this podcast will be on YouTube now.
Perfect. And then, you could always reach out to Bell directly if you're looking for specified training, and we can kind of steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, the Bell Training Academy is top notch when it comes to the offerings there, and not just the fact that the training is offered there, but the quality of the training that's taking place there is top notch.
Oh yeah.
With you being at Bell, you've obviously now, you said you're a year and a bit in, year and a half in.
Yep.
One of the there's that, I know you're still kind of infant. This is what I was bugging Greg about too, because when we were talking, he hasn't been that long with it, but what's one of the most satisfying moments and so far at Bell so far, and what did you learn from it? Can I ask that question?
Thank you to our sponsor, Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing, manufacturer of DSX, Dragon Skin Extreme, an FFA-approved rotor blade leading-edge erosion corrosion protective coating with a proven record of durability in harsh environments like sand and rain. Contact Seth at rotorcraft.biz and stop wasting money on other so-called erosion coatings.
Yeah, definitely. I had a customer in my area call me late one evening after hours, and they had an aircraft that they had an overtorque, and the aircraft was on the side of the hill. They were having issues hooking up the DIMITS box, the maintenance integration box, to see if it was a true overtorque or not. And I got on my computer and I got logged into the manuals, and I was able to walk them through by relaying from a guy at the base with the cell phone to the guys on the hill via walkie-talkie or radio. And then we were able to pull the data. It was a true overtorque. I was able to get a hold of product support engineering at Bell and get a ferry permit, and they were able to fly it back to the base to perform the maintenance.
Wow. How much of an overtorque?
It was a
significant.
Significant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was really cool. The DOM called me and said, I'm personally thanked by this municipality. And, I told him, like, oh, no problem. I did all that with my shirt off at home. So pretty cool.
There's Drew answering the call with tarps off.
Yeah. My home is my office.
Nice. Well done. Good work.
Yeah. Thank you. And that was really, really awesome.
When you get to help out of someone in need, like I said, that's a human part of the passion of our industry. And this has been a key topic of our entire season here. Actually, John, I think you can kind of agree to this. The passion that's behind every one of us that's involved in helicopters. If you really actually care about it, and you actually give a shit about it, you're going to help someone out, and you feel just as satisfied as person getting that information from you. So good on you, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Think about what you did. And I think about myself on a hillside in this situation. I'm trying to get in touch with somebody. I'm like, man, there's no call center is going to answer a phone call for me. If they are going to answer, it's someone other part of the world who I can understand. The fact that it was somebody that was somewhat local, very familiar and knowledgeable in the product, and had the resources to send that information over to that ferry from it, man. Yeah, that is huge.
Yeah, so, yeah, and the CSE, we each get a phone, and we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's cool.
And we don't get a lot of calls on the weekends usually, but we're there. I get them occasionally.
You're ready. Kind of walks me into my next one here, and we kind of like, not to name any kind of particular organizations there, but when you're looking at supporting with an AOG to some agencies and or local organizations on the law enforcement side of the world, how does it feel to develop those particular relationships and kind of get those guys up and running? Like when you're kind of on that first call basis with these guys?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Being in the utility world, I've always enjoyed meeting different careers, like linemen or cops or firefighters, all that stuff, so it's kind of fun to build a rapport with these guys. And, I'm kind of giving back to the community a little bit by getting these aircraft, helping get these aircraft back up in the air.
Sure. Johnny, I guess you have to be on the recipient side of that as well, too, when you have somebody that's kind of dedicated to the support and you can kind of call them up. And that's, like you said, you're calling a buddy in a time of need.
Yeah, it's huge. I think of when I was working weekend nights, it's you and your partner at the hangar and something's gone wrong. You're like, okay, we'll open up the Rolodex. Who do we call?
Yeah.
The fact that you guys are available as, you'd be speed dial number one. As you know, pilots are really good about breaking things. And
you're
always looking.
John, are you talking from experience, John, or like I'm not really picking up what you're throwing down right now, John?
Yeah. No, actually, I'd like to ask this question, and I'll ask you, Drew, because I'm sure you've heard some funny ones. As far as write-ups, pilots coming in like, "Hey, I got this problem."
Squawks.
What two-part question? One, what's the weirdest write-up you've seen? And two, when it comes to I'll ask you this question again after you answer the first part, but I'll ask it now in advance too. when it comes to asking a pilot to describe something and be like, what noise did it make? What's the funniest noise you've heard a pilot make?
Some of the weirdest squawks are, and they're not necessarily weird, they're valid, but they would just come to me at a time when I had other things going on, and say there was a little smudge on the interior panel that needed something, and I'll tell you, Isaac Mackey up at Maritime, a pilot, there was this little cup holder mounted on the L4, and the pilot came in. He said, "Isaac, this thing's a little loose." And he took a screw gun, just took it off. He said, "There you go, buddy."
No cup for you.
Yeah, sometimes the cosmetic squawks when a lot's going on can be hard to take serious. But I try to get them done, keep everybody
My tissue
happy.
holder is not holding.
This is the part of the podcast where listenership is going to spike because everyone's like,
it's a little controversial.
Listening intently. Their ears are to the computer. Eyes are closed, ears are open. Like,
I might have to edit this part out.
Nah.
Okay.
No way.
As far as noises, I've worked with some people from different parts of the world, and they describe noises a little different than we do here. And just hearing some of these guys with thick accents come in, just like, it's making like a wah 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 wah. It's hard. It's like, okay,
You're saying some of those boys from Texas and the Southern Beltway, boy, when I'm talking like talking like this.
Yeah,
Boomhauer. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question, John, but that's what came to mind.
It did. I love it. I think of myself sometimes, I not fully knowing what the problem is. Like, how do I write this in a way that it's 2 in the
You don't
morning.
get laughed at.
Yeah, it's 2 in the morning. I can't even see straight, and I've got to write this thing up. How do I do that?
We did have one pilot who would always write up a hydraulic leak on one of the UH-60s, and we'd always look at it and do a leak check, and within limits as per the maintenance manual. So the logbook just had multiple squawks of hydraulic leak, and it was like, within limits, continue to monitor.
Yeah.
That sounds like a battle.
Yeah.
It's a lot of text the next day. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you to brag a little bit here, Drew, just because you're an IA. Sorry, not Syria, an IA.
Yes.
Not an easy task. What advice would you put to kind of like anybody pursuing one? Because it's, as I said, not easy.
It's definitely a very hard test. You can study for it. I was told by a friend of mine who was an IA, he said, don't study for it. Just go take it. You might surprise yourself. And he took it and he passed it. So I did that, and I did not surprise myself. I failed it tremendously.
Your friend sucks.
Yeah. So I spent a little more time studying, and I waited a couple years and went and took it again, and I was able to pass it. But the ASA Prepware program, just practice tests, I think, is really what you got to do. And those questions are hard, and it's not like I think the A&P tests are a little different now, but when I got my A&P, you could kind of almost memorize the whole test. But the IA one, it's different.
So would you say it's more muscle memory, like you said, just kind of rehearsing and kind of going through the tests in your head?
Not so much. I think for the IA test, it could be muscle memory, as in how to find the answer for this question, because it is an open book test. They give you a big, thick binder to look through data, but just knowing that data and kind of what they're looking for. And ASA Prepware does a really good job getting you ready for that.
Okay.
But then I also have my ham radio license. I got that when I was up in Alaska.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, where did you get that thing? Was that north?
that was when I was in the Aleutians. I had a lot of free time.
Sure. A lot of people don't realize how hard that is to actually to get and operate with the ham radio.
That was a hard test as well.
They don't get it. They just don't get it. But when you're in the middle of a remote, frozen testicle someplace,
Yeah.
Like you gotta, you better pull out all your tools in that little switch knife of yours.
Yeah, Val, I'm going to have you talk to my friends because they don't think it's as cool as I
Bro, you send them my way. Drew, you send them my way.
do. Yeah.
I got you. Not that I'm ham tested certified, but I know it's not easy.
Yeah.
I know it's not easy.
Yep.
Talking about when you get your IA, what would you recommend for the improving of the ongoing training and the education in the maintenance field?
Challenge employees, kind of get them out of their comfort zone. That's the best way to learn. It's like, hey, you're going to be doing this rotor head. Have at it.
Kick them out of the box.
Yeah, and then get them out of their comfort zone. That's how I learned, basically. And PJ's good group of young guys at the time, and we were brutal on each other, just the practical jokes and the trash talking. It was a great environment.
Please don't. Please keep selling it.
We can't skip over practical jokes. Well, that's the one that you're part of. Or maybe you weren't part of it.
Yeah. Nice air quotes too, John. Good work. Yeah.
There's one guy, Travis Spooner. He was notorious when you were static balancing like a long ranger main rotor hub. He'd go over and tape a washer on the bottom of one of the blades. So like you're getting it balanced and it's hanging. And then he's like, oh, you should have inspected. Boom.
Son of a. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I keep referencing this. I'm sorry to the listeners. I keep hearing this, but I always we're part of the coaching philosophy is get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yep. When you get kicked out of that box, you do grow, and it's the way scar tissue is formed, right? So scar tissue is just a tougher piece of skin that's on top of the cut that you've kind of put onto it, right? So it's, kind of good advice on that one to kind of stay outside of the box and kind of get uncomfortable. But at the end of it, you sit there like, oh shit, I grew a little bit just because of it. So
yeah. If you're on a fire contract and ship breaks down, like all of a sudden the guy who's been sitting around doing nothing, like it's his time to shine, it'll put the pressure on.
Yeah. And that's where you're going to find out what the true character or the true root character of somebody is in a time of a difficult decision to be made.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily saying like, if you didn't make that decision at that particular time, but somebody else did, it's because you just didn't step up at that moment, but there will be more moments for you to shine. So don't give up on it. Don't give up on it.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you did with your IA. So you didn't give up on it.
To your point, Val, through this podcast and the Hangers Deep podcast, I had a lot of chance to talk to people who are tip of the spear, high level operators, and none of them got to where they are because they stayed in a comfortable place.
Right.
They all got in a position where they're making themselves uncomfortable time after time after time again. And that led to them being in these positions. And you look back and like, how did you do that? And I think it's just making yourself not vulnerable, but challenging yourself, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and your limits. I think that's important.
Absolutely.
So when John and I started working together here, he was real uncomfortable because it's like, who's this Val guy? And look how much he's grown now because of the scarring that I've given him.
Nice job.
Good job, John. Thanks for being my tutor, buddy. I appreciate all that you do for me. I really do.
Sure.
Going back to your job there with Bell Helicopter. And again, the key word here is the passion that you kind of becoming a CSC on it. What's the drive? What's the gear to become the go-to call guy?
Thank you to our sponsor, Bell. Bell proudly supports the Vertical MRO podcast and their vision to share valuable insights into helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Bell is dedicated to keeping our customers in the sky and on their missions with industry-leading global customer solutions.
Yeah. So, I mean, Bell has been great to my family. I was at HAI last year. I brought my wife and at the time my 6-month-old son with me, and everybody, like, he was in the booth for a while. My wife put a little bib on him with the Bell logo. And,
yes.
It just being part of Bell, like, to me, that's the top. And it continues to drive me because, I'm hearing some feedback from my customers that they enjoy working with me. I'm helping them, and that makes me want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You should just, it's a great group, and I'm excited to see where the future takes me, cause I'm still a relatively younger guy, in the CSE world.
Can I ask you your age? Cause I want to see you look like you're a younger fella.
I'm 37.
Oh, good for you, brother.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm feeling a little older now and then, but
fatherhood will do that.
Yeah.
Just going to comment on the passion you've got. It exudes through your conversation and the things you're saying. I think of myself when we contact somebody and they've got a true passion for what we're doing. It's invigorating. It's contagious. Again, I think it speaks to Bell's desire to hire folks and put themselves in a position where their customer service is paramount. And I, again, see that through you and the passion you've got for the industry. So
thank you, guys.
I'll thank you in advance, man. Thank you for your passion and for leaning into the industry. It's needed. We talk about recruitment and retention. Guys like you are what drives people want to be in the industry. Sometimes you look over and you're like, how this old crusty dude our industry? And it's a bad look. But then you trap that with somebody like you, and you're like, okay, it's a breath of fresh air sometimes. So thank you for that. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, John. Thank you very much.
You definitely light up when you talk about your job and your family, brother. That's if you can kind of do that, then what do they say? If you enjoy your job, you're never really working at it. So
yeah. And I got a good support system here at the house with my wife, and
that is key.
She's supported me 100%. And I got to be on the road every now and then, and she's got to watch the kid. But I always explain to her, what it was like before when I was just a field mechanic. It would have been impossible.
Yep.
So
having that support at home is as important, if not more so, than actually the job itself, because now you're coming home to someone that's understanding of it, that's going to kind of not necessarily understand what you've been through, but just kind of your emotional side of it, and kind of keep it in check. And if you need to kind of vent sometimes, they're there for you. So it's my wife, God bless her. She's been with me 25 years, and she's a saint, because look at me.
Yeah.
So, she's been there for me from the time that I kind of got into this industry 26 years ago. And she supported me through my ups and downs and different parts of it. But at the same time, when you last year, more so than this year, a lot of travel, where you're coming home and you're just looking to get into your bed, and they're welcoming, and it also helps if you have a dog waiting for the door too. So that's a good thing, right? So let's get two. Oh, okay, let's get two then.
Yeah.
Speaks to the camaraderie of everything here. Like I said, with everything that you have, the relationship building, not only in the home front, but you're the camaraderie of our professionals, of us. This is the reason why the show is successful, right?
Yeah.
What's your take on the camaraderie in our industry? You're younger and you've been through a lot. You've seen a lot. Talk to us a little bit about that.
The camaraderie. Every place I've worked has been huge. The guys you're working with, a lot of times you're spending more time with them than you are your family.
Yeah, truth.
And I practical jokes, some trash talking, it's all just fun. Like they're your brothers you're hanging out with, and just a lot of fun. You're hanging out with your brothers, but you're still getting the job done. Brothers and sisters, I should say.
Awesome.
Still getting the job done and putting out a safe product, you know?
Yeah. If at all anything, it's the it's those moments in between moments that you get to have, like the
yes.
Yeah. It's you wake up the next morning going, wow, did we just accomplish that? So
yeah. And it sucks at the time, but afterwards, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And you know what? There's times where I'm proud to say, because I know and I think I might have talked about this there a couple of episodes ago. I'm proud to say I was a part of a moment there where I was FAA. We had to get an STC approved on a drive shaft, and we had to stream it through a video or a camcorder on the install of the 212 drive shaft. Now it's approved as an STC, and then to say that I was a part of that I couldn't have done it without my teammates on board with it, and Bell had to be a part of it, obviously, and the FAA had to be a part of it. But it was done up in Canada. We had to do a landed run, 100% NR for 2 minutes just to see what it can perform like. This is actually this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's, like nobody's done it before. It's cool.
Yep. So I can probably say that's my nod to the industry there. It's my little tip of the hat.
Yeah.
Tip of the hat. So listen, Bell's been around forever and a day. Everybody knows their helicopters from, even going back to the old bubble helicopters, the old 47s that everybody says, oh, those are kind of helicopters that are on MASH. Yes, they are. Agreed. Yeah. So, you're a part of this awesome legacy. What motivates you to kind of be a part of that legacy? And clearly you're a hell of a positive guy. When you're looking at yourself in the future, where do you see it?
Well, I'm just excited with, what Bell's going to come out with. Like we got the 525 coming. That's going to open.
That's a sexy helicopter.
That is. And that's going to open a lot of doors, there's just, I've never worked in a position where there's so much room for growth as there is at Bell. All my other maintenance jobs, it's kind of like, well, I can get here. But Bell, no pun intended, but the sky's like the limit on what I can do with this career. Yeah. Yeah. So
I said it before you, John. I said it before you, buddy. Yeah.
Just looking forward to, what's going to happen. My family is supportive of me and we're excited, and, we're not opposed to move if the job requires us to. And so it's all good and exciting.
You're young enough that possibly could happen. So good on you.
You talk about legacy, and I think of the Hueys. The sound of a Huey. Everybody knows what a Huey feels like.
Oh yeah.
And but Bell is obviously the creator of the Huey, and you contrast that with the 525 that you're talking about, and the vertical lift platforms. Man, there's a lot that Bell's been responsible for, and it's just neat to look at all that.
Yeah.
And look at the innovation that they're a part of, and how they're changing and just molding the industry for the better. I think it's really cool.
Song that comes up generally, what do you think that pops up generally when people hear of the Huey? What do you think pops up?
Oh, Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fogerty.
But John Fogerty. Yeah. And then what's interesting is every movie that's got a helicopter in it, if you listen, it's
Huey. Yes, we talked about that. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
R-22 flies by and like, wait, that sounds like a Huey. Like that's
yeah. And I don't know what it is that sometimes, like, if the air's the certain humidity and it just like slaps, and you'd hear it like, man, it's a cool.
The only one I probably have to say it's comparable to is like when you hear a Cobra go ripping past you.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard that.
It's a badass. Cool. It's a badass. Yeah. It's a badass. And for all those listeners that are listening, if this is your first time listening, if you watch the movie San Andreas, there's no such thing as tip the hat. Yes. Stop asking about that. I get that. Is that real? I'm like, hell no.
I watched that with a pilot in a fuel truck on a fire, and we had all the visors over the window and watched it. And what a great movie.
Hey, can we tip the hat? How about no?
Yeah. Great
awesome.
movie.
Good. Let's talk a little bit about the trends. There's a lot of conversation with a lot of trends in our industry, AI being one of them. A lot of electronics. We talked about the avionics side of the world. As we get older and older in our age, what trends do you think will come up as the newer side of the world in helicopter maintenance?
The Vertical MRO podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
Well, a trend that I've personally seen was the addition of mechanics being able to do a rotational shift with bases. Like that wasn't something that was an option when I first started.
New base, fresh face.
A lot of operators do that now, so, I mean, you can make California money and live in Illinois or whatever. So I don't know why
that's a hell of a statement. That's a hell of a statement, but I understand it. Yeah, I get it.
That's a big trend. And I think with the 412 EPXs and the 429s, the 505s, 525s, computers are a staple in the toolbox now. You gotta have this software, you gotta have the cables. you almost have to be an IT guy to be a mechanic nowadays.
Yep. That's a fair statement. If you go back, I invite you to listen to one of our past podcasts here regarding the AI injection into our industry. That was deep. And it's there was talk of self-learning systems. There's talk of self-repairing materials. That's crazy indeed, right? Like it's, the worry of is a mechanic still needed? Well, someone's got to input the data, right? So the mechanic is still and forever will be needed. So yeah, you're right. You're bang on as far as knowing computers.
As a mechanic, I wouldn't be worried. As a pilot, that's questionable.
We're for sure.
You're important, John. We love you, man.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. We've had this conversation a lot. Is the helicopter industry is so mission focused, and a lot of the missions that we're a part of require more than a computer making the decisions. And you look at like drones, for example. You have a sensor that gives you a view of where the drone's going. But in law enforcement, for example, you need more than just that camera view. You need the whole view out of the cockpit as well.
Yeah.
Helping the decision-making process that you're going through, whether it's a pursuit, looking for a lost or missing person. So I feel like the helicopter industry is being augmented by these really cool tools when it comes to drones and automated flight programs. But I don't feel like there's a risk of pilots being replaced by
no. You still need your talents when it comes to like exactly what you said, search and rescues and or fire, because that there's never a fire in the same place. Search and rescue, you're never going to be in the same place. I can see for the automated side of maybe platform development or platform delivery, that back and forth to and from the bases to the platforms on the oil side of the world. I can probably see that side of the world, but you're still needed in a lot of departments.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pilot's perspective is paramount. You can't get rid of it. If you're long lining electrical tower on top of another tower, like there's no machine that can do that.
I think kind of like how AI is going to change your world as far as the maintainer's world, it'll change the pilot's world as well. I think a lot of pilots will be more systems managers in flight when it comes to the controls versus actual, stick and rudder skills. And I see the same thing with you guys. You might be analyzing data in a different way with the digital solutions as compared to now, where you're visually. I mean, you'll still visually inspect things, but I think it might just change the process a bit. But we'll still be an integral part. I think it's exciting to look at how these things are providing efficiencies and making our mission set safer. I think it's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I
tip
agree.
my hat to you there, John, for the years that you did it too, because you flew under some serious, duress, and then you kind of handle it with the professionals that you can sit here and talk about it today. So good on you, buddy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm very thankful for all the time I got to spend in the seat flying and doing that kind of stuff. It was a blessing. Absolutely love it.
Nice. Drew, going back into you're obviously with a great organization with Bell. Any professional goals lined up? Where do you figure you'll be?
Well, right now, when I started this job, Greg Judd did tell me that it's going to take me at least 18 months to figure out what the job even is. And I find that to be very true. I've been told that being a CSE is you're everything but sales. You're the face of Bell to a lot of customers.
Wait. Everything but sales. I'm going to have to talk to Greg about that one.
Yeah, exactly. We've been, very busy, and the CSE team is phenomenal. Greg Judd's a great leader. We got a great team here. The PSE is awesome, working with those guys. My goals as of now are just kind of continue achieving what I kind of set out to do working with Bell, and just see what opportunities arise.
Keep open to the opportunity, my friend.
Yep.
Keep open, because you're like I said this earlier, you're young enough there, you're going to be fed from a fire hose, hopefully over a long time, that you can kind of manage that and kind of turn into a successful career, which it sounds like you're on your way.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. John, anything to add? No, not so much.
No, I think what you said is great. There's one of the things I like about aviation is there's so much to be knowledge. The knowledge base is so huge. You can never learn it all, right? So it's just a lifelong learning event. You're continually trying to get better and understand the systems in a way you didn't understand it before. So I wholeheartedly agree with what you said there. It's just a pursuit of being better.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Second last question
Well
here,
said.
buddy, because you know what my last one's going to be. I don't know if you've listened to any of these shows, but I'm going to ask you, any advice for the aspiring technicians coming up in this world?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Plenty.
go. Okay, hit it.
Definitely what's worked for me is a positive attitude, showing up for the job. You know, I had one boss that said, if you're not early, you're late. I've always been a big fan of that. You know, a good attitude goes a really long way in this industry. And if you're fun to be around, you know, you don't have to be the best mechanic, but if you're working well with people, you know, you're going to be all right. And, my biggest thing is don't be afraid to say, I don't know.
Solid.
There's too much at risk to have a big ego with what we're doing here, for the pilots, the mechanics, ground crew, everybody. So never be afraid to say, I don't know. And, you know, one thing that wasn't told to me when I got my AMP or an AME, you know, it could be a ticket for adventure. I've got to go all over Western North America with my AMP certificate and go to places that I never plan on going in a million years. And, you know, a lot of them I'll probably never plan on going back, but I can say I've been there. It's,
check mark.
It's been an awesome career for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a motto that I've kind of taken in for well, my wife kind of reinforced it when I started dating her. But if you're 15 minutes early to something, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late.
Exactly. Yep. So yes, and I agree.
My wife was beautifully kind of reminding me of. I was always that 20-minute guy. How far are you? 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
45 minutes later. So yeah, good advice on that one. And I think, you know, more of our past guests even reflected. I think I right away comes to mind with John Scotty, where Scotty said, you know, just don't be a dick. You know, be that good person that everybody wants to work with, right? So you get more of sugar than you do with crap. So have fun with it. Yep. You know, you only get to do it once. Yeah, buddy. Anything, Mr. Grey Goose?
Yeah, that saying, my boys can recite it because we say it all the time. Talk about being late. Being late to me it's the worst. So our family, it's not a family saying, but it's what we say all the time in the house. To be early is to be on time. On time to be on time is to be late, and to be late is unacceptable. My boys can recite that, you know, and I think they have the same anxiety now when it comes to being late that I do. We can on Sundays, and my wife knows if we're not in the car at a certain time, I start getting anxious. I don't want to be late, you know. So
the other part about it too, I think as we get older, we respect people's time more.
Yeah.
So that has to come.
Tell that to my wife.
Yo.
Not so much there.
Okay. Oh, this podcast is about to end right now.
Yeah. She's from Tijuana, so she's on Baja
she's
time.
mañana
down there.
She's Mexican mañana time.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can't falter for that. It ain't a bad thing, but I understand it.
Not at all.
I understand.
Yeah.
Drew, you've been an absolute pleasure to have on our show on Vertical MRO.
Pleasure's all mine. This has been a lot of fun, you guys. Thank you very much.
And I seem to be pulling up in the stats a little bit here. John and I are kind of on the uptick here because there's a lot of people that are saying it did belong. Pineapple, belong on pizza or not?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, lots of ranch.
Oh,
you gotta have enough ranch to drown out the taste of pineapple.
Yeah.
That's a full dip, like a squirt of the bottle.
Oh yeah, I do pineapple on the pizza.
Oh geez.
All right.
You good podcast until now.
No man, it was going so well.
Yep. You know what? I can't believe I'm saying this. I will try to video myself having a slice. If I throw up on it, I will delete video.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know, out here in California, they put far worse things than pineapple on pizza. They're avocado and kale, all kinds of stuff.
Gross.
They're ruining it out
Yeah,
here.
don't do that.
Avocado and kale.
All kinds of stuff.
No, that's the stuff that the animals that I eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Drew Califf, Thank you very, very. I got the name right? It only took me an hour and 40 minutes to kind of get that, but my good man, much appreciated. Jon, thank you for kind of setting this all up there. And Drew, I wish you nothing but the best, buddy. Keep the positivity up. Keep up the family. Good job on the family with the 14-month-old. That's hopefully the hat is not too much hiding the hairline just yet, but keep it up there, pops. There it comes. There it comes. All right, there it comes. But keep it up with the family. Keep it up with your profession, and we appreciate you, man. This is awesome. Thanks for coming on board with us.
Thank you guys so much. I really enjoyed this. So Jon, Val, thank you for taking the time, and I look forward to talking with you guys again.
Yeah, buddy.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
On behalf of Jon Gray Goose, Val Hambone, we're signing out. Thanks for listening to Vertical MRO. Catch you guys on the next cast.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.
Stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing, manufacturer of DSX, Dragon Skin Extreme, an FFA-approved rotor blade leading-edge erosion corrosion protective coating with a proven record of durability in harsh environments like sand and rain. Contact Seth at rotorcraft.biz and stop wasting money on other so-called erosion coatings. Thank you to our sponsor, Bell. Bell proudly supports the Vertical MRO podcast and their vision to share valuable insights into helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Bell is dedicated to keeping our customers in the sky and on their missions with industry-leading global customer solutions.
The Vertical MRO podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
Hey, everyone. This is Val. Thanks for tuning into our 2-part podcast featuring Drew Califf, a Bell Customer Support Engineer, or CSE. We hope you enjoyed this insightful conversation about Andrew's journey in the aviation industry from his educational background at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, to his current role at Bell Flight. Andrew shared some invaluable insights on best practices for maintaining different aircraft types, working in extreme conditions, and the significance of leadership development in the industry. We also delved into his passion for Bell helicopters and his commitment to providing exceptional customer support. For our listeners interested in pursuing a career in aviation maintenance or those already in the field looking to advance, Andrew offered practical advice on obtaining additional certifications like inspection authorization license and staying current with industry trends. We'd like to thank Drew Califf for sharing his expertise and experiences with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more engaging conversations with industry professionals like Andrew. As always, on behalf of our Vertical Helicast team, I'm Val. This is Vertical MRO, and we thank you for being a loyal follower of our podcast. May your skies be blue and keep those rotors turning, baby. Val, over and out.
This has been the Vertical MRO podcast. Join us next time for another edition of the Vertical MRO podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts.